Welcome to part 2 of my Anakin Skywalker Character Analysis. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, then I highly encourage you to do so. I'll throw up the title card and place a link in the description to it. In today's video, I'll continue my case for Anakin as the greatest Star Wars character, looking at his role in Episode 2. So without further ado, let's get into it. At the start of the Attack of the Clones, the Jedi as a whole are shown to be deeply involved in politics, represented by not only the Council meeting with the Chancellor in his office, but with those like Obi-Wan and Anakin being used again as ambassadors to settle affairs across the galaxy.
He's just returned from a border dispute on Ancion.
Anakin, along with all the other Jedi, will soon have their ideals challenged. As Mace claims,
"We're keepers of the peace, not soldiers."
Also to note, with this theme of challenging ideals, Anakin will have his trust in the Jedi challenged as he sees them bend their rules further and further, all in order to achieve peace. It's a very confusing time for him as he is still young and learning the ways of the Force and how to become a Jedi. So learning from them can be difficult as they say one thing, but their actions tend to be very different from their words. And Palpatine plans on pushing or poking at this dogma to see how far they will go, using Obi-Wan and Anakin as his first pawns.
Master Jedi, may I suggest the Senator be placed under the protection of your graces? Perhaps someone you're familiar with. An old friend, like Master Kenobi.
Obi-Wan's name was not only selected because of his ties to Padme, but more importantly, because with Obi-Wan comes Anakin, and Palpatine is willing to use him to set his plan in motion, as he knows that reuniting Anakin with his childhood crush would only ignite his original emotions and potentially create conflict for the young man during these trying times. And create conflict in Anakin it would, as Anakin's nerves begin to get the better of him on his way to Padme for his mission with his master.
You seem a little on edge. Not at all. I haven't felt you this tense since we fell into that nest of gun dogs.
Not only does this show how nervous Anakin is to see Padme again, but it also conveys to us how close Anakin and Obi-Wan have gotten with each other over the years, as they can easily tell what the other is thinking and the general mood that the other is in.
You're sweating. Relax. Take a deep breath.
I haven't seen her in 10 years, Master.
The line emphasizes how long it's been, as Obi-Wan and Anakin have been so focused on Jedi training that they've never had time for themselves, to even see a mutual friend of theirs, such as Padme. A reminder that the life of a Jedi can be a lonely one, as it can seclude or isolate you from others. This overall behavior by Anakin also shows that even after all this time, where others may have lost some of the feeling that they had on their crush, that doesn't apply to him, as his love and compassion always stays strong, transcending through time itself. Something that was hinted at in the first film, but will be emphasized in this one, as Anakin has essentially remained in love with Padme all this time, and Padme still cares for him, but would need a bit more to ignite that feeling.
Annie? My goodness, you've grown.
So have you. Grown more beautiful, I mean. Well, for a senator, I mean.
Even with the decade of training, Obi-Wan clearly hasn't taught Anakin how to talk to girls, but no fear, as he would quickly learn the harsh realities of what we commonly know as the friend zone.
Annie'll always be that little boy I knew on Tatooine.
Only the chosen one could truly get out of this one. On a more serious note, this establishes what was mentioned earlier about his care for Padme, and the same energy not being matched by her. Nevertheless, after they complete the formalities of being reacquainted, the team would discuss their important mission. It's here that the Master and Apprentice's contrasting opinions on the matter would reveal more of the troubling dynamic of their relationship and their character.
We're here to protect you, Senator, not to start an investigation.
We will find out who's trying to kill you, Padme. I promise you.
Anakin shows how love can blind him, as he's willing to go above and beyond the Council's and his Master's instructions, all to appease Padme, as in his mind the bare minimum is not good enough, and he actually may have a good idea, as he would go on to later explain, as preventing the danger may be better than waiting for it to happen and be reactionary. Also to note, Anakin's informal way of talking to Padme is greatly juxtaposed by Obi-Wan's professional manner of speaking, as he gives her the respect of calling her Senator in public, where for Anakin he simply calls her by her first name. He's definitely not trying to do this to be disrespectful in any way, but he chooses to skip these kind of formalities, as to him that's completely unnecessary when you're with friends. no matter how successful or prestigious titles you may have gained. So for Anakin, he always speaks to her quite personally, as if they were the only two in the room together, which can make others around him uncomfortable, truly displayed in the next part of their conversation, as he does the same with his master, talking back, questioning, and even challenging his master in front of others, rather than having a sidebar first.
We will not exceed our mandate, my young Padawan learner.
I meant it in the interest of protecting her, Master, of course.
We will not go through this exercise again, Anakin, and you will pay attention to my lead.
We see how part of the challenge in Obi-Wan now becoming the master is to deal with Anakin's insubordinates, and he fails this challenge as he resorts to basically telling Anakin to listen to him just because, rather than getting him to understand his point of view, or more importantly, hearing him out. This then leads to resentment on Anakin's end, as he never feels like he's being treated as an equal. And as we know, due to his upbringing, he's not a fan of being told to be quiet and being told, "do as I say," by others.
Why?
What?
Why else do you think we were assigned to her if not to find the killer? Protection is a job for local security, not Jedi. It's overkill, Master. Investigation is implied in our mandate.
We will do exactly as the Council has instructed, and you will learn your place, young one.
Anakin is as bold as they come, and he will refuse to be silenced, with no matter whoever's in the room. So, he challenges his master directly and speaks his mind. And when Anakin does, Obi-Wan just shuts him down, giving relevance to Anakin's complaints later in the film.
He's overly critical. He never listens. He doesn't understand.
Sometimes just being heard is all he wants, as he would do the same for Obi-Wan, even if he wasn't his superior. So he expects the same in return and gets frustrated when he doesn't. This also shows how his philosophy with that of the Republic-era Jedi are at odds with one another, as Anakin always feels that they should be doing more, helping the helpless as he once was on the other side of things, and would have killed for others to do more.
Mom, you say the biggest problem in this universe is nobody helps each other.
So now that he can help, he wants to do everything in his power to do that for others. He idolized the Jedi, and now that he's within their ranks and on his way to becoming one, he wants to fill that role as he envisioned it. But sadly, the Jedi are more complicated than he imagined.
Mr. Bustin' with happiness seeing you again, Annie.
She hardly even recognized me, Jar Jar. I've thought about her every day since we've parted, and she's forgotten me completely.
You could have at least said thanks to Jar Jar. This is exactly what was mentioned earlier, that Anakin has profound love for others, and when they don't reciprocate it in a way that meets his expectations, he becomes frustrated and a bit dramatic. This being one of the cons of his pure compassion and passion towards others, as he has such a huge heart that he only feels hurt when others don't match that same energy, as it eats away at him to the point that it consumes him. Because he dedicates all his thoughts and time towards them, if he feels like he doesn't receive it in return, then he feels like he has nothing. And a man with nothing to lose can be a scary thing, as the most dangerous creation of any society is a man who has nothing to lose.
She's a happier than Misa seeing her in a long old time.
You're focusing on the negative, Anakin. Be mindful of your thoughts. She was pleased to see us.
A reminder for Anakin to be more positive, as everything can seem miserable when all you allow yourself to see is the negative. As Qui-Gon once said, your focus determines your reality. Obi-Wan is generally a positive person and tries to look at every situation with a glass half full mindset, where Anakin right now is stuck on the opposite end, showing how they can be in the same exact situation and interpret it entirely differently.
I don't like just waiting here for something to happen to her.
Again, a reason why Anakin and the Council don't see eye to eye, as they tend to be more laid back and Anakin more proactive with his actions, as waiting around for danger to come just invites the possibility of harm coming to the people he cares about and is trying to protect. To Anakin, doing the same thing and expecting different results is insanity.
You're using her as bait.
It was her idea. Don't worry, no harm will come to her. I can sense everything going on in that room. Trust me.
It's too risky. Besides, your senses aren't that attuned to my young apprentice.
And yours are.
Possibly.
While being a complete savage, Obi-Wan again shows how critical he is of Anakin, by not showing enough confidence in his ability to handle the situation on his own. Anakin, in a simple fashion, states, "Trust me," and in response, Obi-Wan basically says, "I don't," which, at the end of the day, may be for good reason, but from Anakin's view, It can be insulting, hurtful, and frustrating, because he always has good intentions, but others don't place their faith in him like he does for them, which only builds contempt for his master.
You look tired.
I don't sleep well anymore.
Because of your mother?
Even after 10 years, the concern of Anakin's attachment is still just as true. Like many others, it's something that you wouldn't be able to simply shake off, as it would be unreasonable to ask someone to completely forget about either of their parents, especially if they have fond memories of them and know that they're still out there, which is where others like Obi-Wan sometimes don't give the greatest advice on the subject, as he and the Jedi simply find it hard to relate to him in that sense.
I don't know why I keep dreaming about her.
Dreams pass in time.
While this is true, it's not allowing Anakin to focus on fixing the problem, which is how his dreams have been affecting him mentally, and how holding in his emotions are not necessarily a good thing. So instead, he tries to distract himself with Padme.
I'd much rather dream about Padme. Just being around her again is intoxicating.
Be mindful of your thoughts, Anakin. They betray you. You've made a commitment to the Jedi Order, a commitment not easily broken. And don't forget, she's a politician and they're not to be trusted.
Obi-Wan gives Anakin good advice, but for the wrong reasons. He should be mindful to make wise decisions when concerning Padme, rather than ones that are hasty and emotional. Not because the Jedi says so, essentially. The last thing he needs to do is emotionally invest himself in someone else while he still has much conflict in his own heart about his mother. He should find mental and emotional peace within himself before endeavoring in anything else. Also, it doesn't help that Obi-Wan follows it up by generalizing Padme with other politicians, because this will put Anakin on the defensive, as it rightfully isn't fair to Padme. Basically, it becomes another lecture for Anakin shortly following a moment that he tried opening up to Obi-Wan to simply have a conversation.
And besides, you're generalizing. The Chancellor doesn't appear to be corrupt.
On second thought, maybe he should be generalizing.
Palpatine is a politician.
I have observed that he is very clever in following the passions and prejudices of the senators.
I think he's a good man.
A little hint at the tug of war that will wage between Obi-Wan as the master or brother and Palpatine as the mentor or father. This puts Anakin in a conflicting position as he trusts both men, but they both seem to always be skeptical of the other. Because Anakin always puts his faith in people, it allows him to see the good in a politician like Padme. However, it blinds him to someone like Palpatine, who's using his own emotions to manipulate him and dictate his actions. It's the double-edged sword of trusting in people versus an ideology or philosophy. And Obi-Wan and Anakin's differences would have to be put to the side as they quickly realize that the latest assassination attempt is happening right under their noses. Anakin is as efficient as ever, disposing of the killer insects, protecting Padme from her demise. Obi-Wan then, a bit recklessly, jumps out to grab the droid, as his actions are telling of how he actually agrees with Anakin and cares about Padme's well-being. He echoes the words of the Council, but in the end, he will do what he feels is right when given the opportunity, and in the process, hopefully finding the killer.
You spent as much time practicing your saber techniques as you do your witching with rival Master Yoda as a swordsman.
I thought I already did.
Only in your mind, my very young apprentice.
Anakin is again humbled by his master, at what feels like almost every turn, being constantly reminded of things such as his youth and rank. In a sense, it's necessary as Anakin has become cocky and arrogant, but it definitely isn't encouraging to him, especially after he just finished saving Obi-Wan's life. It gives you a sense of their day-to-day interactions, as having the sassiest master at the Jedi Temple would probably lead to many conversations such as this one.
You know I don't like it when you do that.
Sorry, Master. I forgot you don't like flying.
I don't mind flying, but what you're doing is suicide.
It really does feel like Anakin has a death wish sometimes, as he surely does put him in harm's way more often than not, trying to be a daredevil and show off unnecessarily throughout this sequence. Anakin shows in his actions that he's more than willing to disobey his master, and Obi-Wan's commentary highlights the even more extreme reckless nature of his apprentice. But then again, he might have learned some of that from his master. Also, it's kind of ironic seeing this as Obi-Wan would go on to revere Anakin as the best star pilot in the galaxy. But I guess it comes with the territory, as you would have to have a daring combination of being a bit of a risk taker and have a really big ego along with all the extraordinary skills in order to be given such a title.
Anakin! How many times I told you? Stay away from hard coupling!
But really, how many times has this happened before? This is just more stubborn disobedience from Anakin, as he hasn't heeded Obi-Wan's advice before, and he doesn't seem to be on track to doing so anytime soon.
Where are you going? He went that way! Master, if we keep this chase going any longer, that creep is gonna end up deep fried. And personally, I'd very much like to find out who he is and who he's working for. This is a shortcut, I think.
Anakin reminds us that his goal is to find the truth and put an end to this problem by finding the root cause, giving purpose to his actions, even if they are questionable to those like his master.
Well, you've lost him.
I'm deeply sorry, Master.
That was some shortcut, Anakin. He went completely the other way.
While Obi-Wan feels like he's in the right in this moment, it's probably not the best time for him to tell his young apprentice, "I told you so soon."
Once again, you've proved
If you'll excuse me.
I hate it when he does that.
Okay, once again, how many times has this happened? This feels like it's all part of Anakin's knack and desire for showing off whenever he can, as he has an obsession with being the best at whatever he does, and it's definitely seen here. After a bit of a scuffle with the bounty hunter, Anakin's antics would fortunately lead them to cornering Zamwa's cell at the club, but before he could continue his pursuit, Anakin would be met with yet another lecture by his master.
She went into the club, Master.
Patience. Use the Force. Think.
Sorry, Master.
He went in there to hide, not to run.
Yes, Master.
Next time, try not to lose it.
Yes, Master.
This weapon is your life.
I try, Master.
Of course, Anakin is in a rush, which has led to non-stop chaos as represented in this whole chase sequence, started by Obi-Wan, but continued by Anakin. But Obi-Wan gives solid advice, recognizing that they're in a good situation as Zam is trying to hide. He flips the perspective from they're getting away to they're now cornered, and we just have to wait for them to make a mistake, a benefit that comes with patience rather than being in a hurry, as Anakin only has one speed. Obi-Wan shows him that things can become clearer when you slow things down a bit, the difference between doing something quickly and in a rush, a lesson he would need to learn in his progression as a Jedi, as he would always be looking to the future rather than the moment, which can lead to many mistakes along the way. Also, the idea that this weapon is his life shows that Anakin should regard his own life with a higher standard, as he always seems to carelessly or recklessly throw it away for others, represented by the fact that he always seems to lose his lightsaber, and in this movie, has it destroyed.
Why do I get the feeling you're going to be the death of me?
Don't say that, Master. You're the closest thing I have to a father.
Then why don't you listen to me?
I am trying.
This shows here how Anakin does greatly value and respect Obi-Wan, viewing him as a father, but the two don't always see eye to eye, and Obi-Wan is a bit harsh at times. Rather than embracing Anakin telling him how he feels, he throws shade at him for not listening to him, and from Anakin's view, it's like he said, he's trying, and he feels like his efforts are going unnoticed, which should be the important part, rather than the results alone.
Go and find her.
Where are you going, Master?
For a drink.
And it's moments like this that Anakin must be thinking that Obi-Wan is the ultimate troll, which he kind of is, but it gets the job done, as he's able to disarm Zam and they take her outside for an interrogation.
And who hired you?
It's just a job.
Who hired you? Tell us. Tell us now!
Anakin's good cop attempt leaves Obi-Wan rightfully confused. Like, they really need to get on the same page about who's the good cop and who's the bad cop. Strangely enough, it also shows how easy it is for Anakin to go from compassionate to blinded by rage. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. I had a ton of fun making this video, so if you enjoyed it too, then I highly suggest liking the video. And if you want to see more like it, then definitely hit subscribe. And if you want to be notified when part 3 comes out, then hit the bell for notifications, or consider checking out my Patreon, where I'll be uploading videos there significantly sooner than on YouTube. Part 3 should be available there as I speak, and the same will apply to the next parts when they come out. And on that note, I want to give a shout out to my patrons. Your support means everything to me. And finally, let me know in the comments which Star Wars character has gone through the greatest challenges and why. And who knows, they might be in the next one. Until next time, remember, sometimes we must let go of our pride and do what is requested of us.